What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the King's Court with me, Vincent Miracle, here on Fansided.com, GoldenGateSports.com, or whether you're on the app or online watching me here on YouTube. I want to thank you guys all for watching and viewing and listening. So again, this is the King's Court, where we talk all things Sacramento Kings basketball. And some breaking news happened today, early this morning, that the Sacramento Kings and Jimmer Fredette are finalizing on a deal that would buy out Jimmer Fredette's contract. If you are a Jimmer Fredette fan, you have to be, very, very happy, because this would give Jimmer the opportunity to, possibly become the player you guys expect him to be. He'll have a chance to find a team that could possibly use him, make him a player that can be utilized on the right team. Now, will he go to that team? I don't know. I don't know if he'll actually go to that team, but on the right team, he could be utilized very, very well. I don't think he's going to be a star like most people do. I'm not one of those Jimmer mania type of fan people, but I do think Jimmer is actually a good role player. And I think Mark Spears said it best. He's a good Steve Kerr type of player who can come in, knock down a couple jumpers, and be a very good role player. Now, there's been speculation that he would want to sign with the Utah Jazz, but if you look at it, I think that's kind of going to get debunked in a couple of hours, or it probably already has. If it has, then you guys just let me know, write it down in the comment section, or could just be posted up later. But the Utah Jazz already have 15 players, which is the max you can have on their roster. So I don't see really the Utah Jazz wanting to cut a player just to add Jimmer Fredette. So a team that could use him possibly are teams like the LA Lakers or the New York Knicks, who possibly could lose Felton because of these charges that came up. But we don't talk Knicks basketball, we talk Kings basketball, so I'm not going to get into that Felton deal. But those are two types of teams that can use the Lakers, Knicks. The Spurs could possibly use him as a knockdown shooter. Oklahoma City needs some more shooters over there on that team. There are quite a few teams that could use him. And there were talks with Cleveland, there were talks with Denver that they were trying to get traded over there, but nothing, that Jimmer and the Kings were trying to make a deal to get traded over there, but nothing actually happened. So now that he's a free agent, he could possibly get put to a team that could actually use him. Maybe a team that's making a late playoff push could use him. But if he wants to be used in the playoffs, he has to be signed by this Saturday. So will that happen? I don't know. But I know that there's not a extreme market out there for Jimmer, but there is a market out there for him, and it's going to be interesting to see who he signs with. And hopefully for Jimmer fans and for Jimmer, he'll actually go to a team that could use him and be a actual player on the team, unlike a kind of a seat filler like he was in Sacramento. So, Jimmer, if you ever watch this, I hope you get to a team that will actually use you, and happy birthday. Happy birthday to you, man. So, from there on, we're going to move on to this Isiah Thomas dilemma, because Isiah Thomas has been playing very well. Isiah Thomas, DeMarcus Cousins, and Rudy Gay just set the high for the most points scored in the Kings era between three players, which is 92. Between Cousins, Isiah Thomas, and Rudy Gay, which is a very high number. The next one after that was 91. And, that's awesome to see. But is Isiah Thomas part of the future? I don't think so. He's played his way into a lot of money. Rudy Gay is going to be getting his money if he decides to opt back in to his contract with the Sacramento Kings. And $19 million is a lot of money. I don't see him running away from that. It'd have to be a big thing for him to walk away, and that's why I put on my 5 things. If you haven't seen that video, there's 5 things I said that the Kings need to do during the second half of the season to prove that they're a good team, and one of them is to prove to Rudy Gay that they're going to look to start winning. And we don't know if Pete D'Alessandro or Vivek Ranadive and, Coach Malone already know that, Rudy Gay's made a decision to stay. We don't know that. So the question really comes up, let's say he does want to stay. The question I keep asking through all my videos so far is, would you rather have a DeMarcus Cousins and Rudy Gay duo, or would you rather have a Isiah Thomas and DeMarcus Cousins duo? Because Isiah Thomas, I keep on saying this, has played his way into some money that he earned that money, but is he part of this future with the Sacramento Kings? For me, the answer is no. I feel that if you're going to choose between the two, you're always going to choose Rudy Gay and DeMarcus Cousins. Excuse me. Those two are the closest ones to all-star caliber players, and if you want to get to that next level, you need to have those type of players. Isiah Thomas is a great scorer, but the question always remains is he a good player on a bad team, or is he really just this good? Now, you can call me an Isiah Thomas hater and say that I need to just look at the numbers. And yes, as a starter, he is doing very, very well. 20 points, just above 20 points, a little under 8 assists a game. He's playing very, very well. But like I said before, is he a good player on a bad team, or is he really this great? Let me know what you think. Leave a comment in the comment section, and let me see what you guys have to say about it. Usually I do my videos on Monday, and I moved it to Tuesday, and here's why. I know a lot of people were wondering why I didn't post it yesterday, but here's the reason why. So Tuesdays are the days I post my articles. I post my articles for Golden Gate Sports, again, or I talk all things Sacramento Kings basketball. And if you want more Kings news, of course, go to fansided.com and Golden Gate Sports. Check that out. Also download the Fansided app, and please hit that subscribe button and subscribe to these videos. But Tuesdays are the days where I write my articles for the website, and it would give me a chance, like right now, to give you the idea of what I'm actually going to be talking about. So the article I wrote today, of course, was about Jimmer Fredette and how this buyout is going to be big for him, and for fans, you should be very, very happy about what's happening. Now usually what happens is I'll write another one, and it comes up, and I'm trying to pull up the piece I have here. That's why I keep looking down at. And so was the thing I'm writing about today was about Jason Terry. And was it disrespectful for him to, basically say he didn't want to be here? And that was a bunch of rumors going around that he didn't want to be here, and that's why he's rehabbing in Dallas. There's a lot of rumors about that going around. Is that true? Rumors are rumors, and it doesn't really seem like it's not true, because he is rehabbing in Dallas. It just says that the Kings are going to allow him to rehab in Dallas. That's the only thing that's changed and has been different. Now, I wrote about that. I want you guys to check that out on Golden Gate Sports. To me, personally, I don't think it was really a big disrespect thing. He's up at that age where he wants to be on a winning team. He has that. But the Kings could very much use him. And will he be a part of this team next year is what I get into in the article. I don't want to give away too much. I want you guys to go check it out. Again, Golden Gate Sports. And yeah, so basically it's all about how Jason Terry, was he disrespectful to the team by coming here? Go check out what I said. Go ahead and leave a comment in the comment section. I'll also leave the link to it here at the bottom of the video so you guys could go and read it, both the Jimmer and the Jason Terry articles. And then go ahead and come back, hit the comment section. Let me know what you guys think. And yeah, so this is the part of the video where I will be answering all of your questions that you actually sent in to me. So if you have a question that you want to get on the show, be sure that I will be sure to either email them to me at kingscourtpodcast@gmail.com, where I will give you a shout out and I'll answer your question. You can also give me your questions through Twitter. I am on Twitter at VMCenter. That is VM and then Center. So I'm at VM Center on Twitter with the hashtag Kings Court, and I will gladly give you a shout out from there as well. And then, of course, if you are on the Kings app, I'm there as well, also as VM Center, and you will see my little random posts I post on the Sacramento Kings app to basically give my input on certain things before I write my articles. And I'm not on there a whole bunch, but I'm on there enough to where you can remember VM Center. So for the first question, it comes from Mr. Baca, and it's a really good one. It says, will Rudy Gay's decision to stay or go decide Isiah Thomas' fate? And that question is a very good question. Whoa, I got really close to the camera there. But yes, it is a very good question, and the answer to that question is yes. Whatever Rudy Gay decides to do will really reflect on what happens with Isiah Thomas. But let's remember this. Isiah Thomas is a restricted free agent. So what I think will happen, and if you guys don't think that way, again, write down in the comment section what you guys think. But this is what I feel is going to happen during this offseason with Isiah Thomas, just to put it out there. Isiah Thomas is a restricted free agent, meaning the Kings can match any offer that a team gives him if they feel that he's worth that much money. So let's say a team says he's worth $8 million. Do you believe that he's worth $8 million? If so, let's say you're the Kings and you say, yes, Isiah Thomas is worth $8 million. I'm going to sign him up right now. Okay, so you just signed Isiah Thomas to a, I don't know, what's an $8 million? Let's just say for 2 years, $36 million. Or 4 years, $36 million. Or 32 million. 4 years, $32 million. That's $8 million a year. That's the math. Slow math guy up here. So, 4 years, $32 million. That's $8 million each year. Is he really worth that to you? And if he is, think of the cap space that you're, completely putting the Kings in right now between DeMarcus Cousins, Rudy Gay, and Isiah Thomas. If Rudy Gay decides to stay, which I believe he's going to want to, because it's going to be hard to walk away from $19 million. So this is what I think is going to happen. The Kings are going to let Isiah Thomas basically go search for a contract as high as you can get. And I don't think he's worth a max contract. I want to know if you guys think he's worth a max contract, so go ahead and put that down in the comment section. Like I said, I want to know what you guys think about this. I think they're going to let Isiah Thomas go out and search for the highest contract he can get. And whatever it's offered to him, if the Kings feel he's worth that much, they'll sign him. They'll sign him, especially because I think they know Isiah Thomas isn't worth a max deal. I think he is more around probably $4 million a year, maybe $5 million. The highest I would say he's worth is $6 million. So he's in that $4 to $6 million range. And if Isiah Thomas is going to go somewhere else, it's going to be because the Kings decided it's not going to happen. I think the decision of Rudy Gay does have a big impact because of the cap. And that cap line is going to be very hard. So let's say Isiah Thomas does get a deal of $7 million a year, and the Kings feel that's way too high. What I feel that's going to happen is they're going to do a sign and trade like they did with Tyreke Evans. I don't think they're going to let Isiah Thomas walk away for nothing. And so what they get back, I don't know. Maybe it's before the draft and he can get a first-round draft pick for him. Maybe someone really needs Isiah Thomas. I don't see that happening, but it's possible. Or maybe they're going to get assets back like they did with Tyreke Evans, like they got Grievous Vasquez and stuff like that. So maybe with Isiah Thomas also getting the option to trade off, there's a possibility Jason Thompson can still be gone at the end of this year. But that's not what you asked. You asked if Rudy Gay's decision decides to fit of Isiah Thomas, and I think it already has. I think once the Kings brought on Rudy Gay, they already knew that Isiah Thomas was halfway out the door. That's why they made him available on the trading block. So the decision of Rudy Gay has already affected him just by being on the team. So yes, to answer your question, Mr. Baca, yes, and thank you for being a viewer. And if you're not a subscriber yet, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. The next question comes from NewBaller07, and that question is, can the Kings pay Rudy Gay and IT and also be able to afford players to help this team win? Tonight was great, and by tonight I believe you're talking about the Denver Nuggets game. Tonight was great, but the big three can't put up numbers like this every night. You know, it would really depend on how much they pay Isiah Thomas, and I don't think that they can get enough assets to really become a team where they can have players to build around. Because let's think about it. You're going to have Derek Williams under contract. Jason Thompson is still under contract, and I believe he's getting $8 million a year, just under. Excuse me. And then you have DeMarcus and Rudy Gay making $19 million. $19 million is almost half of the cap right there. And then DeMarcus Cousins making a max contract. Isiah Thomas is not short of a max, is just short of a max contract. I believe he is going to get in that $4 to $6 million range. So, can they afford all three of them? Yeah, they can afford all three of them, but you would rather have pieces to build around the dynamic duo. And who knows what this draft pick is, because you're going to have to pay that draft pick, and it's going to be a lottery pick, and so they're going to have to pay them. And that's why getting that money that they saved from, let's say, from that Nets deal and getting money for Roger Mason Jr., taking him and waiving him, it's pretty smart, because that's more money that they didn't have before. So can they afford the three on the team? Yes. Is it a smart idea? I would say no. That's just a quick way to answer your question. I'm running out of time here, so I'm going to get to the next one. So thank you, New Baller07, for your question and your review and everything like that. So next one is from Kings Fan, Kings Cool Podcast. So Kings Fan asks, if Rudy decides to stay, what should the Kings do to get better players for bench production? It's going to be players to build around the two. They're going to need a point guard. They're going to need veterans. They're going to need specialty type of players. And I've stated this before on other videos. They need players that can defend really well, which they got in Reggie Evans. They're going to need veteran IQ, which they got in Jason Terry, but who knows for how long. And they need players like that, like a Steve Novak type of player, players who can be on the wing, stand still, and basically knock it down. And they need pass first players. So they need specialty type of players and players that with a high motor. So if they're going to build like that, they're going to need players that are going to be able to work well around Cousins and still be able to give the shots to Rudy Gay. That's what they're kind of going to be looking for, and a pass first point guard would probably be the first thing on their list. So thank you, Kings Fan, for your question. Next question comes from Luke Dean 22. If Rudy leaves, what free agents should we chase the most during this offseason? And it's going to be Isiah Thomas. They're going to chase him down if they can already know that Rudy Gay is going to leave. But here's the thing. I would hope that Rudy Gay would make a decision before the draft, because if Pete D'Alessandro and Vivek Ranadive can get into an agreement, they don't even have to sign contracts, but into an agreement with Rudy Gay that, yes, he's decided to stay or leave, would really help on the draft pick. Because let's say he decides he wants to go, that, let's say, number 7 pick should be a small forward. Or if he decides to stay, it should be a point guard, because you don't know the future of Isiah Thomas in a Kings uniform. You see what I mean? So a lot of this offseason for the Kings is going to ride really hard on Rudy Gay. It's going to ride a lot on Rudy Gay and his decision. But like I said, I don't see him leaving. And if it's going to be players, if the Kings are going to be looking for players if he does leave, it's going to be players, still specialty type of players that can fit around Cousins. And they're going to be looking for veterans. I think they still are going to use that same format. And I think that's why they brought on Derek Williams to fill on the Rudy Gay role. And I'm not saying Derek Williams is at the level of Rudy Gay. Of course he's not. But they're going to need to find players to still build around Cousins. And I still think having specialty players and high IQ players are the first things on their list. And the last few questions here. I have Spencer Anderson 429. He asks, is IT the starting point guard for the future, and does he deserve the money that would reflect the season he is having? He deserves the money, but he's not the point guard of the future for the Sacramento Kings, and that is because he played his way into the money. That's basically why. And the Kings need a pass first, and Isiah Thomas is going to be looked at more of a scorer, while he also thinks he's a starter. So that is kind of where it's at. Is he the point guard of the future? I don't think so. But yes, he has definitely played his way into some money. And he deserves it. As the 60th pick, he didn't get that much money. So he probably is going to go for as much money as he can get during this offseason. And I would too if I was him. The next question comes from... Thank you, Spencer Anderson, for your question. And this one comes from OneKing909. Do you think letting Thornton go made us stronger now that we're winning games? I think it really was the same thing that they're doing with Jimmer. It just opens up more opportunity. Does it make us better? Yes, because it saved the Kings money. That's why it made him better. Not because of any of the play on the court. It's just because it saved them money. So getting rid of Thornton was, yes, a strong idea. Getting rid of Jimmer Fredette was another strong idea because now you're giving time to players like Ray McCallum and Ben McLemore to go out there, and even Carl Landry to go out there and start getting minutes and being productive so they can start seeing what they have for next year and possibly years to come. So was it smart letting him go? Yes, but I don't think it's because of on-the-court play. I think it was mainly just because of the money. And the last and final question comes from a loyal viewer, and this is from King Andes Ryan, and it says, do you think sitting Terry for the rest of the season is a good idea, and do you think he will play for the team next year? Like I said earlier in the video, I wrote about this. Is he gonna be on the team next year? I don't know. You have to read what I say. And was it a good idea to sit him? I mean, there's a lot of rumors going out that he didn't want to be on the roster, and yes, he was injured, so it was kind of just, okay, you really don't want to be here. You're not going to be able to be on the court anyways. I mean, Coach Malone said he's not going to see the court, and then, a couple days later, this comes out that he's going to be resting for the rest of the season. So I think a lot of those rumors are true, but they're not saying they're true. They're just rumors. But him sitting out for the rest of the season, is it a good idea? Yes. Will he be on the team next year? Big question mark. Go read what I have to say, and I'll post that link down here at the bottom. So that's the episode for today. Thank you guys all for listening. If you're not a subscriber yet, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Let me know what you guys think of the video. Hard or your criticisms, whether you liked about it, all in the comment section. Do you think Isiah Thomas is worth the max contract, $8 million? And who would you rather have? The dynamic duo of Rudy Gay and DeMarcus Cousins? Or the dynamic duo of Isiah Thomas and DeMarcus Cousins? So let me know what you guys think. Again, get all your Kings news for Golden Gate Sports at fansetta.com. And until next time, thank you, Kings fans.